With this video, we are celebrating this YouTube channel's second anniversary. And this time we are going to do things a bit differently than in all my other videos. So in this video, I'm going to show you a MOC called Witch House by Castor and Max Brich. Why am I doing things differently in this video? Well, the thing is that there are no building instructions for this build, and this means I'm going to reverse engineer the whole build. But how I'm going to do this is something which I will talk about later. For now, just let's talk about the design itself. So, in May 2022, Castor and Max Brich have submitted their Witch House design to LEGO Ideas. You can see that this Witch House is a cute little stone house with blued roof, and yeah, it sits in this landscape. The whole build is quite colorful. We got a tree with colorful leaves. And I think this is the witch and this is her cat. I guess both live in the house. And yeah, the whole building is placed next to this little stream here. This build uses some quite interesting building techniques, so have a look how this wall here is managed to be placed on this angle. That's quite interesting. And yeah, we can also see more or less the same wall on the other side of the build. The little stream here flows from up here, down here, and yeah, there are a lot of flowers and other plants and mushrooms and little animals like this frog here, all placed over the build. We can have a look at the back side of the build. There you can see that we don't have a wall on the ground floor, so it's cut out so that we can have a look inside the building, inside the witch's living space. And yeah, down here are 3 rooms. Then we got a room on the middle floor, and here just below the roof there's another floor. So on the ground floor we got a kitchen. Then we got next to the kitchen the dining room, and here's also the stairs. Those stairs lead up to the middle section of that house. Next to the dining room there is the witch's bedroom and her little library. Just below the roof there we got this little storage space. Here is a trapdoor through which we enter this floor here, and yeah, you can see that the witch hasn't really stored a lot of things up here. It's it's this rat's living space. And yeah, in the middle floor, which you can see we enter it here from below. Here are the stairs which lead up here in on this level. And here are the stairs which lead up to the storage room. So here are the stairs, and at the end of the stairs we have used a ladder, which isn't really visible here. We can only see the beginning of the ladder. And yeah, from the ladder we can go through the trapdoor up here. This is how the build looks like without roof. And yeah, here you can see all the rooms at once. And well, I didn't notice that all these images here are computer rendered. I thought those are real photographies, but they aren't. I only noticed it during, while I was trying to recreate the whole design, because then I noticed that the roof is placed back here, but in the actual design, those 2 bigger parts of the roof aren't connected with each other, so this whole segment just wouldn't stay in place like this. The roof would fall apart when you place it like this over here. But I have to say, those computer renders are really, really, yeah, well done. I absolutely didn't notice that those are not real images. And here in the final image, we can see that the stream ends in this little waterfall. So when you put the build on a shelf, like shown here, yeah, the plates of the waterfall even go on a lower level. Well, as you can see, this design reached the needed amount of supporters, but sadly, the Lego company didn't approve this build or this design, so we didn't get a real set, and this is the reason why I'm going to recreate the whole build. And yeah, the problem with enough supporters but not being approved by Lego is a problem that Castor Troy and Max Brich seem to have a lot. There are several of their designs which got enough supporters, but for some reason Lego never approves their designs. That's a bit sad. The two designers have published several versions or iterations of their witch house. So you can see here, a year later in May 2023, they have submitted more or less the same building to Lego Ideas. This time it's a winter setting, and yeah, the building is turned into a ski house or ski hut. You can see that here the surrounding area is designed a bit differently, but all in all it's more or less the same house. The interior looks differently, but I think it's clearly visible that the building techniques for the house are the same. We also got a Christmas version of this building on BRICKLINK Studio. There it was released, where can I see it? Sorry, where can I see when this was released? Oh, published 4 weeks ago, so this was published quite recently. And there, yeah, you can see that the tree, oh, by the way, we got another tree here, I think, than in our original build. It looks a bit smaller, I'm not sure, maybe it's the same tree. But here in this Christmas version, the tree was replaced with this little Christmas tree here. And yeah, also the stream now is frozen, so that these guys here can slide down the stream. I don't know, maybe they want to play ice hockey. Alright. Then we got another iteration of the witch house. This time it's back in summer. And yeah, it was published, or better said, it was submitted to Series 4 of the BRICKLINK designer program. And here you can see it's once again more or less the same house, but we got a different tree. And yeah, the surroundings look a bit differently than they do in the original build. Yeah, the water here is arranged differently than it used to be on the first witch house. But all in all, it's still the same build, even though they have changed some building techniques. You can see the interior looks a bit differently. I think the colors look differently, and yeah, it's more or less still the same build. And then we got another iteration of this build for BRICKLINK's 5th series of the designer program. And here once again the exterior or the surroundings change slightly. And yeah, this time it's not any longer the witch house. They changed the name into House in the Country. And yeah, the house itself still looks quite the same. The colors differ slightly. But this time we also got walls on the backside. So this whole segment on the exterior is added. And I think they also had to change for this the building techniques. You can see that we can remove the walls. And yeah, for being able to do this, we need, of course, these Technic bricks down here. And I think this also means that the whole house sits on a higher position than it used to sit in the original build. You can see here we only get 2 layers of plates. And yeah, now we got more than a brick added to the whole thing. Or yeah, at least it's a brick taller than it used to be. The rooms changed a bit, so we got here, I think, another shelf on the back. We got a different door. The colors look differently. We got chairs now. And yeah, but in total, it's still the same build, I think. The roof looks slightly differently than it used to. You can see here that this is done in another way than we saw it in the complete build. And I guess, yeah, maybe this so far is the most advanced version of this build. Castor Troy himself even says some words about this version of this build here in this video. I'm going to link you his video in my video's description. And of course I'm also going to link all the other versions of Castor Troy's and Max Brich's witch house. And then I just found this video here a few days ago, and yeah, it seems that for BRICKLINK Designer Program Series 6, they even produced yet another version of their witch house. Well, it's not so easy to recreate such a build when you don't know how it's done and you don't know which pieces are used, but luckily in May 2023, so a year after the witch house was published to or was submitted to LEGO Ideas, Castor Troy published also a 3D model of the witch house on BRICKLINK or on Studio Gallery, on BRICKLINK Studio Gallery. And this is cool because of that we can have a look at this cool build from every direction. So we can zoom in and move the whole thing and have a look from every direction at this build. There are some problems with this version of the build, so you can see here that for some reason the pot, which used to be, of course, on the stove, for some reason moved outside the building. And also have a look here at the kitchen's floor. It isn't complete. But all in all, this is a very big help. And well, the first time that I had a look at this model here was before BRICKLINK Studio got an update. Back then, I think it was sometime last year, we still were able to see building steps for this building. Well, building steps is the wrong word. We could see this build divided into bigger sections, and yeah, this helps of course a lot when you can have a look at these sections of the build. And what's even more important is that we also got a list back then which showed all the pieces which were used for each of the sections. Stupidly, nowadays we can't see these building sections and the list of used bricks any longer because with the update which Studio Gallery published here, it's simply not possible to see these things any longer in the standard in the default settings. And I guess the designers have to change those settings to make the steps visible again. And Castor tried, didn't do so. But luckily I could see everything back when it was online, and I could recreate the whole build in Studio. Of course, I didn't recreate the build exactly like shown here because not all the pieces do exist, neither by or do exist in this color, neither by the Lego company nor by other companies. And some of those pieces are simply too expensive in the right color. So have a look, for example, at this lamp here. You can see this red piece here, I think it costs 20 to 30 euros, and yeah, that's just too much. I used the same piece in another color, I used salmon for it. But now let's have a look at my version of this build in Studio. So this is my version of Castor Troyes and Max Brich's Witch House looks like in BRICKLINK Studio. Yeah, it's more or less exactly the same. The only thing I had to change were some colors, as said before, because the pieces simply don't exist as Lego pieces or as pieces by other companies. Here is the lamp I was talking about before, so you can see that I used a piece in salmon and not in red. But other than that, I tried to keep it as close to the original as possible. Sometimes I changed some colors because, yeah, simply because of my personal taste, but I think that's okay. Here and there I also changed some building techniques. I changed how the plates here are attached to the roof. So the roof consists of 2 layers of plates, I think, when I remember correctly. And yeah, just to make the whole thing a bit more sturdy, I placed the plates in a different order, but I think this isn't really noticeable. And for example, here have a look at the tip of the roofs. There you can see that I simply did the tips differently because the pieces used for this in the original design don't exist in a color which would fit to this roof. And yeah, I also used another building technique, not only bricks in other colors. What I did here is that I used a piece which isn't used by the Lego company, but I showed you this piece in a lot of my videos when I was building blue brick sets. It's a single piece, a single stat, a hollow stat. It looks like, some of those ironing beads. And yeah, you can change the building direction with the help of these things. So you can turn negative stats into positive stats. And this is how I was able to place these plates here at the end of those bricks. I think I also used one of these pieces down here. I think somewhere at the lower part of this chimney here. But all in all, I didn't change really much. I guess I replaced some of the plates here of the base, I think, and if I remember correctly, on this side here there was a brick in use which Lego produced in the 50s or 60s, so I simply used a modern variation of this brick. It isn't really visible. So let's have a look at how many pieces are in use here. Model info. Yeah, I used 2,495 pieces for this version of the design. I think Castor Troy and Max Brich said that they used about 2,500 pieces for their design, so this comes very close. The 3D model uploaded on BRICKLINK or on Studio Gallery used about 90 pieces less than I used for my model, but I guess this also has something to do with the way I built the kitchen floor. So you can see I used way bigger tiles for the kitchen floor than in the original design, and the BRICKLINK or the Studio Gallery design didn't have any tiles here at all. I just noticed that I'm not the first one who's trying to recreate this whole design here. When we go back to the original Witch House entry at LEGO Ideas and go to the command section and scroll down a bit, there we can see that there already was another guy who tried to reverse engineer this whole build. Well, he tried this 6 months ago. I have no idea if he succeeded. And well, he didn't start trying this before me, I guess. I already started this last year. I think it's almost a year ago that I rebuilt the whole thing in studio. It was sometimes in autumn or in winter 2023, I think. And yeah, the only thing which is left to do for me now is to recreate the whole thing with real bricks. I have recreated it digitally, but let's see if this whole thing is also recreatable with bricks. I hope for this guy that he succeeded, but I hope that I will succeed too. Most of the construction blocks that I'm going to use for this build are by GoBricks. These are way more than 2,000 pieces. I paid for the bricks about 113 euros, and for shipping from China to Europe I didn't pay anything because that was free. Then next I bought this bag of pieces here. Those are bricks by various Chinese brick producers, and those did cost me about 3 euros, and I paid about 3.50 euros for shipping. So you can see that the GoBricks are really good quality. Those are more or less the best pieces on the market. Have a look here at those injection points. Those are absolutely fine. Those bricks can easily compare with Lego pieces. They are more or less the same quality. Bricks by other producers don't have the same quality. They are, a bit worse. Have a look here at those injection points. Those are really little holes, and this simply doesn't look so nice. But some of those pieces have only injection points, not those crater-like holes. But you never know what you're gonna get, so luckily I ordered most of my bricks by GoBricks, and I only have to live with a small amount of bricks which have these ugly injection holes. It seems that most of these bricks here are okay too. And yeah, then I also had to buy a few Lego pieces, and this was insanely expensive for just a handful of pieces. You can see this is not much, but well, those are 4 orders of pieces by different sellers, and I paid for these few bricks here about 63 euros. And since I had to order them from all over Europe, I ordered them from Slovenia, Luxembourg and Germany. Because of that, I had to pay for shipping 24 euros. So in total, all the pieces, including shipping, did cost me about 206 euros 50. Well, I'm going to open all the bags, and yeah, then I will empty them on the table. Normally I also sort all the pieces by type before I start with the build, which means during the building process I won't have to search for an individual brick too long, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to do this here too. I'm not really in the mood of sorting pieces, but maybe I should do it. Well, I will see. So, when I have emptied all the bags, I'm going to start with step 1 here in my instructions. You can see I created instructions for myself, and there are, I think, 677 steps. Yes, 677 steps will I have to complete until I get the whole build here. And yeah, normally I'm showing you steps when something just doesn't work as shown in the instructions, or I don't know, when there's a step where something interesting happens. But since I have created these instructions myself, I don't think that it makes sense when I stop at every step here and there to show you something which just didn't work out, or when there's an error in the instructions, because those are not the instructions by Castor Troy and Max Brich. And yeah, because of that, I think I will come back to you as soon as I have completed the build. Well, I have changed my mind. I'm letting you witness the building process. I think I'm showing you the build when I've completed bigger segments. So far, we have built the ground. And yeah, you can see here that I used these big plates here, these two, in this green color, but well, I ordered the pieces in the wrong color. Normally those pieces were supposed to be in dark green like the other plates here, but well, I think it is not too much of a problem. Here in the front, those two big plates are covered by other plates, so they won't really visible once the build is complete, and they are only visible here in the back, but we are adding also a few other pieces on top of the plates, and I think maybe this green color here also fits quite well, so this shouldn't be too much of a problem. And since I have changed the colors of several pieces compared to the original design, I think it doesn't matter if there are 2 more pieces which comes with another color. Alright, so the ground plate which we have created here is more or less complete. The only thing missing is here a piece where later there will be water. And yeah, besides having placed all these layers of grass, we also have placed the tiles of the kitchen and yeah, here the wood of the other 2 rooms of the ground floor. And I think now it's time to start with creating the building. We are starting with the kitchen. Oh, and by the way, if you wonder why we got here these 1x1 gaps, that's because I'm not yet sure if the mechanism which holds the walls in this specific angle really works. The idea is quite cool, and I think the designers have done a great job there. But I'm not sure if I can really trust that building technique. And yeah, here is a gap because maybe if there wasn't a gap, the plate would interfere with the mechanism. And just to be sure that it doesn't interfere with the mechanism, I'll leave a gap below the mechanism so there is enough space for the whole hinge-like thing to sit there properly. And yeah, if these gaps aren't necessary, I can always fill in the gaps in the end with 1x1 plates. They are thus just there to be sure right now, and maybe once I have completed the build, I will also fill in the gaps or cover them in some other way. In the original design, the wood here was stored loose. The pieces were not interlocked. And because of this, I have created this little construction here which holds the wood in place. So let me show it to you how this whole thing is connected to the rest of the build. Yeah, so you can see here in the front we got the wood, and here in the back we got a little construction which holds the wood in place. And this construction is interlocked to this brick modified here. The whole thing just is connected to one stud, but that's enough to keep the whole thing in place and keep it from rolling around in the kitchen. The first room that we have completed is the dining room. Well, sadly it isn't complete yet because I somehow missed to order some pieces which are necessary for the table. When we have a look here at my instructions, there you can see that on the underside of the table we have added 8 of these pieces here, so that the table looks like this. There is there's some kind of border around the underside of the table which just is missing here. I'm going to order the missing pieces once I have completed my build, and then I'm going to add them, but this will be at a point after I already have uploaded this video here. I think the table also looks alright without the missing pieces. We have built all the furniture in the bedroom. It comes with 2 bookshelves. That's quite cool. And then we also have built the bedroom's wall. It's one of those walls which is connected to the house in this rather interesting angle. And you can see that we got here these 2 brick modifieds, and with the help of these bricks with a hole in them, we can connect the wall to the build, and this is how the bedroom gets its wall. It's an awesome building technique. I really like this. So you can see the wall now is interlocked with the rest of the house, and it's perfectly sturdy. It's stopped from falling inside by this brick modified here, and it can't move towards the outside because of this tile here, and also these angled plates below. So it has to stay in the right position. That's awesome. I think it was a good idea to keep these gaps here, so we can add without a problem now this curved slope. But if there wasn't this gap, it wouldn't be so easy to add the curved slope. Let me show this to you. So let's say there is no gap like here, and this piece goes here. And when we now want to add the curved slope, it interferes with the stud below, so it's not possible to place it. You see my problem? Yeah, it just doesn't work. Oops, we need the gap. I just have completed the second of those cool angled walls, which means now the kitchen is enclosed too. This is such a cool building technique. I really like it. This just looks great. Too bad that I need these gaps here to also be able to place this half-timbered style around the brick wall. But I guess maybe I can place a little bush or something like that in front of those gaps. I even think at this side there will be the tree in front of the wall, so this gap shouldn't be visible. Maybe I have to place something over here. I think this gap looks alright. We don't have to hide it, but I will have to think of something which I can place in front of this little gap here. After we have completed the ground floor, we of course also had to build the walls for the first floor. And as you can see, I have done this. And there's a little cool thing here that I want to show you. I have built this awning here right now, and we can remove it just like this. And you can see that it only sits on this one single stud here, but the brick quality really is good, and so everything just keeps in place. And I just like how this little roof here is done. The designers really had amazing ideas. That's so cool. I'm building the kitchen hood right now. In the original build, I think two of these pieces here somehow were mushed together as one piece, which doesn't really exist. And this was done to have studs on 1, 2, 3 and 4 sides. But you can see here the piece doesn't have studs on this side. And these studs are needed to place this grill here. I'm going to place this grill here now with the help of these pieces here, those single studs, those only studs, these ironing beads. I'm using a technique which is used quite often in blue brick sets, for example. So these pieces are used to reverse the building direction. And we use this bar here as a tool, stick it in the stud, and now we can place the stud on the underside of this grill like this. We do this with the second stud too. And now, our grill has studs. And this means we can connect it now to the underside of this brick modified. We have turned this way negative studs into positive studs. We have reached our building's top floor. I'm building the storage area below the roof at the moment, and accidentally I ordered this frame here for the trapdoor in the wrong color. The trapdoor is in reddish brown, just like the whole floor is supposed to be. You can see here that this plate is also in reddish brown, but for some reason I accidentally ordered the frame in black. As a Lego piece, this frame only does exist in black, but other companies produce this piece in reddish brown. I have ordered a replacement piece, but this will take quite a few weeks because I had to order it in China. For now, the black frame will do. And here you can also see that I built this part of the chimney differently than shown in the original design, because I ordered the wrong pieces here again. So we got this curved pipe here, and then normally we should have two pipes on top of it, but for some reason I ordered 3 of those curved pipes, and with those we can't build this chimney here, this exhaust pipe, and because of that I used these cones here. I think it looks quite okay too. We have completed the upper floor, and we also have already placed most of the roofs. This here is the second half of the main roof, and as you can see, it gets attached to those hinge plates here, just like this. It's not so easy to connect these kind of roofs, but when you pay a bit of attention, everything should be fine. It's better to do it with two hands, but you just have to press here at the tip of the roof and then it should be connected. The pieces the designers used for the tip of the roof don't exist in satisfying colors. And this is why I made my own construction for the tip of the roof with other pieces. And yeah, once again I'm going to use one of these single studs here. Oh, come on. So, then let's see if the whole thing works as I intended. Yeah, I think this looks quite fine. Great. We have completed this little stream here and yeah, the plants next to it and yeah, the whole landscape. And I think besides building the waterfall here, the only thing left to do now is to build the tree on the other side of the house. I just have completed the tree. It might look a bit complex, but actually it really isn't difficult to build. Sure, it's not the most fun thing to build, but it could be way more unpleasant. I have built other trees in the past which really were no fun to build, and this was absolutely fine. You had to concentrate a bit to select the right colors for the pieces of the leaves and so on, but otherwise it really wasn't difficult to build. Alright, what's left to do now is to build the waterfall. And here it finally is, the recreation of Castor Troyes and Max Brich's witch house. This build looks so amazing, the designers have done an absolutely great job, it's just so cool. Let's have a look at this thing. So, what I have added at last was the waterfall here, which, yeah, you can see that it flows over the edge. But I'm going to detach the pieces of the waterfall now to be able to better move the whole build so that we can have a look at it from every angle. It's very easy to detach and reattach those pieces, so it's just a matter of seconds. And yeah, I've also added the minifigure and the cat after I have completed the rest of the build. I didn't use the same minifigure as the designers have intended because I simply have no idea which minifigure they wanted to use. The minifigure wasn't shown in the BRICKLINK gallery 3D model, so I have no number or no BRICKLINK number for that minifigure. But I guess they just recolored an existing minifigure, which means it doesn't really exist in the colors they used, so I simply used a completely other minifigure. They had a minifigure with a head which wears glasses, so I did this too, but as you can see, the rest of the minifigure looks differently. The torso belongs to a witch with green skin, but I wanted to use the normal yellow Lego skin, and that's why I detached the green hands and added normal hands to it. And the head actually belongs to another witch, which looks quite familiar, but it is another one. And the skirt our minifigure here is wearing, yeah, it's just a random purple skirt. I think the color is called dark purple. And the cat they used doesn't exist either, at least not in black. I think you can see in the original design that the cat has stripes on its back, and our cat here doesn't. I have somewhere a cat with the same stripes on the back, but it's orange. This might have looked alright here in the build too, but I went with another cat, a black cat, which actually belongs to the set or to the minifigure to which this hat belongs. But I think the minifigure I created here has some fitting colors for the whole set, for the whole build, so this looks quite interesting. Well, then let's talk about a few problems, or better said, a few things which I have done wrongly here. So, first of all, there are some pieces in the wrong color because I simply messed up some of my orders. You can see here this plant here, this wooden part of the plant has a reddish brown bar. This is supposed to be in dark brown, and yeah, I have ordered the correct piece, but I have to wait till it arrives until I can replace the wrong one here. But it doesn't really matter too much. I think this reddish brown color looks okay too. Then the biggest problem or the biggest error I did was ordering the wrong base plates. Well, those aren't actually base plates. From here to here goes a 16 by 16 plate, and from here to here goes the other 16 by 16 plate. And these two big plates are supposed to be in dark green, as I said when I started the build. You can see here the same color as this. And yeah, if I had used these plates in dark green, we would have had a better contrast here in the back. I think this would have looked better. But normal green does the job as well. I have ordered the correct 16 by 16 plates. Those are not produced by Lego as far as I know, so I had to order them from a Chinese company. And yeah, even when they arrive, I don't think that I'm going to add them, because to add them or to replace these green plates with the dark green plates, I would have to take apart the whole build. You can see here how many tiles we have put on those bigger plates, and yeah, that's just not fun to do. Maybe once I disassemble the whole build, and maybe in a few years I will reassemble it, then I'm going to use the correct plates down here. This piece doesn't belong here. This was needed during the build to place the 1x1 studs. Okay, what else? Let's have a look here. So, for the lamps, to attach them to this droid arm here, we need here, down here, and also up on the ceiling, 1x1 plates with a bar attached to them, or these 1x1 round plates. And yeah, they are supposed to be in the same color as the droid arm, this flat silver color. But once again, Lego doesn't produce these pieces in that color, so I ordered them from China, but they haven't arrived yet. And in the meantime, I simply used Lego pieces, which luckily do exist in black, and I think this color does look quite fitting too. So we need two of those things for this lamp here, just down here and up there, and also for this other lamp, only here on the top, where it is somewhere up here, where it is connected to the ceiling. And then here, oh, this shouldn't look like this. Oh no. Well, as you can see, the pot isn't attached to the build. That's why it did sit a bit strange. There must be another piece somewhere in there. Yeah, there it is. So, the witch is cooking, and as you can see, she has put some stuff in her pot, but yeah, some ingredients are missing. I need another tip of a carrot and a brown carrot, I think. And I guess, yeah, that's all which is missing. I simply forgot to order those pieces. Let's put it back in there, back on the stove. So, then of course up here, I think I told you about this before, here this pipe next to the chimney is in the wrong, this pipe is made out of the wrong pieces. Normally, instead of these 4 cones, we are supposed to use these, yeah, I don't know what these pieces are called, so some kind of pipe pieces, just 2 of them. But until those arrive, I simply use these cones here, and I think this looks quite okay too. And then here in the middle section of the build, there is a problem with the clock there in the back. You can see that the pendulum doesn't sit properly. Maybe I can correct this. It's supposed to look like this. And well, it's simply a tool attached to a pin, which is attached to the rest of the clock. And yeah, I ordered the wrong pin. I used here a pin without friction, and that's why the pendulum doesn't stay in place. We are supposed to use a pin with friction, and then this problem simply doesn't exist any longer. And yeah, of course, the pin with friction isn't produced by Lego, but luckily other companies produce a golden friction pin, and yeah, that's another piece which is part of my order from China. And I think with that, oh no, down here the table has some missing pieces, of course. But those are the same pieces as we used for the lamp, just in dark brown. I also told you about this during the building process. And yeah, on each side of the table there are supposed to be 2 of those pieces on the underside, which makes 8 in total, 8 of those pieces. But now I think we have talked about all the missing pieces. or better said, pieces in the wrong color. But yeah, I didn't want to wait any longer to show you my completed build, and I think you can get a quite good impression without these pieces too. Alright, well, let's get back to the front of our build once more, so we can talk about what we see here everywhere. So, first of all, of course, we got this cool landscape with this little stream here to the side of the house, and have a look at those mushrooms. This looks so cool. A little frog. And as you can see, during the building process, I left these 1x1 gaps in front of the mechanism, which adds these half timber framed like things to the angled wall. Here are those gaps. Here's a gap, there's a gap, and there's another gap, and behind the tree is a gap. And of course I wanted to hide them, and I simply did this with plants, and I think that it turned out quite well. You don't notice the gaps. Maybe when you know that there are those gaps and you concentrate on them, then you can find them, but otherwise I think the plants do a quite good job in hiding them. And here, of course, in the back, the gap isn't really visible because of the huge tree. Have a look at this wall. This is so amazing with all the greebling. It just looks fantastic. I'm still in love with this building technique here. I have never seen this technique before. They really had a cool idea there. Of course, the flowers I used are in another color than the original design. My colors are a bit more colorful. I think the original design has used darker colors, but yeah, those were the flowers I could easily purchase, so I used them in those colors. I really like how the whole area around the door here is done. This is so cool with this little roof up here, and how this lamp is created with the help of this angled droid arm. It's so nice. And also the windows are very cool. Of course, it doesn't work out perfectly, but nevertheless, they look amazing, those windows. You can see here that the bar in the middle actually doesn't touch the lower end of the window frame, but I don't think that does matter too much. All in all, it really looks cool, so you don't really notice those gaps too much. There are some other bigger gaps in this build. I don't know, can you see this from here? You can see that the door doesn't really close perfectly. There's a gap between the door and the upper part of the frame. I think it's a bit better visible from the other side. I think here it's quite visible. There we got those bigger gaps where we simply can see the outside, but that's really not worth to complain about. Here are some other bigger gaps on the side of the roof, but I'm not quite sure if these gaps are also there in the original design or if this is something I did there. I adjusted the lower end of the roof a bit because I feared that it would interfere with the lower roof itself, but I think we can live with this gap. Well, the roof itself, of course, looks very cool in this blue color. This blue and black patterns. Very interesting. It just makes a very nice roof. And yeah, of course, the tips of the roofs are, those are my inventions, more or less. Because the needed parts which the original design used simply don't exist, but I think I did a quite okay job there. Those pieces work quite well to cover the gaps on the top of the roofs. The chimney is so cool with its smoke up here. It's one of those, I think it's a Ninjago snake or whatever. It's so nice. And then of course we got on the right side of the build this very interesting tree. It wasn't hard to build, but nevertheless it looks quite complex, and yeah, it got so many details that it's one of the better trees out there. And it's easy to adjust. You can see we can, if we want to hide some gaps, we can use these hinges to adjust the leaves and twigs and so on. And yeah, that's quite cool. Then down here we got pumpkins, and here we also got this little Halloween pumpkin that got a face, squirrel. Here is the other of the angled walls. Oh, and have a look how well this side here of the roof closes up everything. You can see that the chimney really is surrounded by the roof. There are no visible gaps. This is very cool. Some birdies on the tree. Well, I think that now it's time to have a look at the interior. Down here is the fully equipped kitchen. And yeah, which really got a lot of interesting stuff to brew her little potions. I think sadly the cupboard in the background isn't very visible. I don't have enough light for this, but you can see that all the potions have those translucent colors, and this makes the whole thing very interesting. Maybe it would be cool to add some light bricks to this build to enlighten or to illuminate the whole thing. I think this would be a cool idea. Here is the dining room. And here is the bedroom. She got a carpet, a bed, she got a lot of books, and yeah, another pot and a plate or whatever this is. And here you can see that on this floor we got, of course, the clock which I talked about and the pendulum. Yeah, it just fell out of position once again, but I'm going to leave it there. The correct pin will solve the problem. And here are more books. And then we also got the top floor, and to show you this, I'm going to remove one of the sides of the roof. Maybe it isn't too easy to attach this kind of roof to the build. You need a bit of experience with these kind of roofs. But once you found out how it works, it isn't too difficult to attach them. So what I do is that I bring these hinge pieces here in their lowest position, just like this, and then I turn them slightly upwards. Not much, just a bit. And then you can simply place the roof here like this, and you have to push at the positions where the hinge plates are positioned, and then everything falls in place quite easily. Okay, up here we got the trapdoor, which leads to the lower section, and you can see here that we have to use this ladder here first, and then we reach the stairs. And during the building process, you could see that I used a black frame for the trapdoor, but luckily it turns out that I didn't only order the trapdoor or the frame for the trapdoor in the wrong color in black, but I also ordered it in the right color, in the reddish brown, and so I could replace it. Well, then we got this mouse up here, or a rat, or whatever this is, this little sack, and there's a barrel in the back. This broom here stands normally here leaned to the wall, but since this always falls down when I move the whole build, I decided to simply put it in the barrel. Okay, then I think it's time to reattach the roof. I showed you how I'm going to do this, but nevertheless, it's not too. It's not very difficult to do it, but nevertheless, it's easier to do it with two hands. And because of this, I will turn off the camera for a second. When I put together all the bricks, I was really surprised how all these building techniques simply worked as intended. It was amazing. Of course, when I recreated this build digitally, I changed some of the techniques here and there. I made the roof a bit sturdier. It's still not the sturdiest thing out there, but it's okay. But all in all, the techniques just worked. During the building process, I also had to update my instructions sometimes because, I forgot to correct little errors. But all those little errors are meaningless compared to the complete design. It's just amazing what we got here as a result. Castor and Brich really have done a fantastic job. They wanted to create the set to help rehabilitate the so-called witches of the early modern era, and this clearly helps. I mean, have a look at this little friendly house. This is a nice elderly lady, a friendly lady, and this build isn't evil, and so this lady can't be evil either, I think. It's so sad that Lego didn't turn this into a real set. Well, of course, there are some problems with the sturdiness. I talked about the roof, and maybe this roof here is a bit too complicated for a real Lego set, but I think it wouldn't be too difficult to think of something else, to do something else up here. And yeah, maybe you have to adjust the whole thing here and there a bit, but not too much. All in all, it is a very easy build. It isn't complicated to put together. It's much fun to build, and it isn't too expensive either. You can see I used a huge amount of Go bricks, and I also, with several expensive Lego bricks, I could put together the set for about or for less than 210 euros. And I think this is the same price range which Lego would use. With cheaper bricks, maybe you could put together the whole thing for half the price. And yeah, of course, Lego always adds a little bit to their sets. So they sell them for more than they are worth, I guess. But nevertheless, I think 200 to 250 euros would be a realistic price for such a Lego set. I really don't get why they didn't accept this design. It's so amazing. People love this design, it got enough votes, but for some reason they didn't make a set out of it. Well, there's of course the chance that we get to see one of those iterations as a BRICKLINK set, but I don't know if they are going to do this. BRICKLINK sets are often used, I think, with more or less with no correction at all, or maybe just very small corrections. So maybe this is too much of a MOC, maybe the roof is too difficult to build, I don't know, but I guess the two designers have adjusted those minor problems in their newest iterations of this build, and so there shouldn't be a reason why BRICKLINK can't make a set out of this. So guys, vote for Castor, Troy and Max Brich. I think at the time of recording this video, the 6th BRICKLINK designer program, the season 6, just has started, and this means you have the chance to get this set as a BRICKLINK, this build as a BRICKLINK set. Vote for it. Those designers are great. They have done a great job, and it's so sad that we don't get to see this as a real set. I have my build here now. I have my own instructions and I got all the bricks, but please don't ask me for the instructions. This isn't my design. I made instructions for this, but it's the design of Castor, Troy and Max Brich, not of me. And I also think that exactly this version of the build is also protected by the Lego company. I think when you put your design on Lego Ideas, you also give Lego the rights for the set for a few years, so it still might take a few years until the rights for this exact build return to the two designers. And yeah, so long. The only thing you can do is to vote on BRICKLINK to get one of those iterations of this build as a BRICKLINK set. Go for it.